Here's what we're buzzing about at NewsBeast. Brand new issue of Newsweek, Margaret Thatcher on the cover. It is her moment again. With the movie coming out, it's got everybody talking. But first, our cheat picks. Tina.
Well, I have chosen this truly horrific story of Jerome Isaac, the guy who set fire, sprayed a woman with flame accelerant in an elevator and then set her on fire in Brooklyn. It is the most horrendous thing, and it's sort of the second awful elevator story that we've had in the last few days. I mean, the last one being that poor girl in the advertising company who, crushed to death in elevators, which now are, the most frightening thing that one can possibly imagine. But I've got to say, when I saw the picture of Mr. Isaac on the front page of the Post, he is such a horrendous looking guy. I kind of thought to myself, who would give this guy odd jobs to do? I mean, it was like, let me pick him to do my grocery shopping. The guy was obviously a lunatic.
Well, so the footage of the elevator camera shot when he's coming, I mean, he's all tricked out, sort of in some James Bond fantasy of what an exterminator who lights women on fire in elevators looks like.
He looks like the Terminator.
Bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, it was totally premeditated. He waited there in the surgical mask, sprayed her with this. It's horrendous, and this poor woman screaming to her death. You could not make this up. So anyway, it's not a very cheerful way to make it
it's
Monday,
not.
But I was mesmerized by that.
Well, and mesmerization being important. Let's talk about a more cheery, Christmas-themed-esque Apple TV, I understand, is your cheat, Amanda Foreman. Welcome to NewsBeast.
Thank you. Yes, I think this is very exciting. Apple TV, as we know, it's going to have some kind of Apple TV set, but what's really important is that they're going to be able to stream their programming from their TV set to their iPad to their iPhone, and they're going to use some kind of Siri-type technology, which allows you to say, get me Hawaii 5-0, and then you watch it on your TV, then you pause it, get into the train, you watch it on your iPad. It's fantastic.
Get me NewsBeast.
Get me NewsBeast.
Get me NewsBeast, of
This
course.
is TV everywhere. So my cheat is, first of all, I mean, Kim Jong Il, that death late last night, stunning the world. I still can't get over, and I dimly remember the footage of his father dying, people crying in the streets of Pyongyang. I mean, it's just, and Kim Jong Il became such a weird pop culture figure in America because of his appearance in Team America, the South Park films. He was sort of the consensus, insane dictator.
But isn't it just incredible, though, that in this whole world of such open kind of, as you talk about, convergence and media and so on, that we really know nothing about what it's actually really like in that country, in a sense. I mean, that we know so little about this family that are now going to have their finger again on the button. The whole scary world now, and the son who, we've never really encountered before, who's only been there around for 3 years in this position.
Yeah, I have to say, also adding on to that, I mean, the real death that I think mattered most yesterday was Václav Havel, and has been somewhat overshadowed by Kim Jong Il. But this man was a hero to the world. I think he was a hero of our times. I did my university thesis on him, and this guy was just. He was one of the moral leaders of the world. You don't get anybody who is a playwright and a poet and a prisoner and a president who spoke with his kind of honesty.
And it seemed not to have gone bad too, which is the big thing.
Yeah,
usually the payoff is horrible in some way.
That's right. No, he's died a hero.
Yes, and deservedly so. Let's talk about your extraordinary piece.
Oh, thank you.
It is a great piece about Margaret Thatcher. This is her moment, as the piece says. And one of the interesting things we're talking about is Margaret Thatcher as an underappreciated feminist icon, at least.
She is. Yes. I mean, for example, when the Labour government in 2009 put out its official list of the 16 British women who changed the country, they left off Margaret Thatcher's name. That is how much she is hated by feminists.
That is so unbearably petty.
It is.
It really is.
It really is. I mean, that's outrageous, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was always kind of undervalued and in that regard. I mean, she's revered here. But I think what's wonderful about Meryl Streep's new movie, and she plays her just flawlessly, is that the way that you suddenly realize to see her in that way, actually, to see her as a woman who just had to put up with so much obstruction, actually. I mean, the way they sneered at her, the way they condescended to her, she had to break through not just being a woman, but also this class sort of condescension, which was rife.
Oh, yeah, class condescension, and also she didn't like the groupthink of what she perceived the feminist movement, which really began in the early 70s, late 60s in the US, and they didn't support her. She felt she was on the front lines in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Where were they when she was having rocks thrown at her?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. What was the thing that you found the most sort of unexpected in all of the research? Because you spent many, many months writing this piece, Amanda.
I did actually. I spent
You've interviewed
9
Cameron
months.
and Osborne, right?
Oh, Cameron, Osborne, about half the current cabinet. And what's interesting is how the Tory party, the Conservatives, were divided like some kind of Shakespearean tragedy over who wielded the knife, who was actually responsible for bringing down the leaderine. And it kept them in the wilderness for 20 years. I was most surprised by that. Second of all, everything she predicted has come true. She predicted the problems over the euro. She said that a country that cannot control its interest rates or its currency exchange rates will ultimately fail. She was right. She was a prophet.
Yeah.
It is kind of wonderful to watch the YouTube clips of her now, isn't it?
Oh,
In
yes.
the House of Commons with that, no, 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 no.
No, no, no.
When was the last time anybody's ever said that in politics recently?
Well, I love also the ladies not for turning moment.
You
which is-
turn if you want to. The ladies not for turning.
I mean, I'm waiting for the dance remix of that. I mean, that needs to become pop culture fixation on this side of the
And she
Atlantic
turned
as
that
well.
handbag into a kind of weapon of mass destruction in some ways. I mean, it was just this great big handbag that just stood between her and all of them, There's a wonderful moment in the movie where she totally defenestrates Geoffrey Howe. Was he her foreign minister at the time? What was Geoffrey Howe?
Yes, that's right. He was her foreign minister at the time. There's a great anecdote that during one cabinet meeting, she was late, but the handbag was already there. And the cabinet secretary said, "Oh, we should start the handbags here."
All right, final word, Amanda.
Iron.
Gina?
Handbag.
Lady. That's all from us for NewsBeast. We'll see you tomorrow.
I cannot wait to see the movie. The movie's good, right?